Hello, good evening. Welcome to episode 40 of the Tunnel podcast on transfer deadline day. As Middlesbrough and Sunderland are going hammer and tongs just over my left shoulder, keeping out of view for the YouTube stuff there. Transfer deadline day, massive weekend. Just been loads of games coming up midweek as well. Plenty of talking points. Hopefully some stuff breaks while we're on air as well. No Jim White tonight, but delighted I am joined by Tom Goff. Tom, how are we doing, mate?
I'm right, mate. I'm all right. I'm just bringing up the West Brom news, mate, and hitting refresh just to see what's going on. So, yeah.
More outs than ins at the Hawthorns, maybe.
Possibly, mate. Yeah, it's. I thought it was gonna be a pretty quiet one, but it's been pretty exciting so far. So yeah, we're gonna get into that, aren't we? But yeah, I'm all good, thanks, bud.
Excellent. Yeah, listen. It's been a big weekend, as we say. We'll keep you abreast of any news that breaks while we're on. Currently, Middlesbrough 1, Sunderland 1, which we'll keep you up to date on that as well as we go along. So, plenty of talking points. We're going to start at the top of the table. Leeds United, 7th heaven, we'll call it. Smashed Cardiff at the weekend, 7-0. It was actually a really, really dominant performance. You usually see sides go 3-4 up and take their foot off the gas. It wasn't like that. They kind of went gung-ho for the full 90 minutes.
Yes, mate. Yeah, it felt like a bit of a message. I thought to the rest of the division. You're right. Most teams, normally you go 4-0 up, that's game over, isn't it? And like you say, you kind of take your foot off the gas and go into third gear, save your legs a bit for the next game. But yeah, there was none of that from Leeds. Look, pinch of salt, Cardiff, I think, kind of rolled over and capitulated a bit, didn't they? But yeah, all credit to Leeds. They just kind of went for the jugular for the full 90 minutes. Like you said, they smashed in 7, but it could have been a lot more. It could have been double figures quite easily, couldn't it? So yeah, it was a massive win for them. Like I said, look, Cardiff are obviously towards the bottom end of the division. But I just think, to score 7 past anyone at this level, it takes some doing. And like I said, I just felt like it was a bit of a statement from Leeds. There's been quite a bit of, I don't know, the last couple of weeks, other podcasts and stuff. I don't know if you've seen, but a lot of people kind of saying, this championship's the weakest it's been for a long time. The teams that are duking it out at the top of the table are the poorest. There has been for some time now, and no one's really running away with it like they have done in previous seasons. But I don't know. I think Leeds have got the potential now to pull away a little bit from those other 3 teams that are kind of duking it out with them for those automatic spots. I just feel like they're in such a good place at this moment in time. It's going to take some performance from anyone to get anything from them the way they're playing at the minute. So, they look class.
Look, 2 points clear now at the top. That goal difference is frightening. 41 goal difference, and they are sort of the guys that are going to get the goals in the division. Just looking at, I think 7-0, that was the highest they'd scored, highest goal scoring game at home for over half a century. Their highest goal scoring game was against Leicester, 8-0 back in 1934. So it was, they were racking up the stats. Just on Daniel Farke, he kind of said after the game, this league is relentless, so you've got to become relentless with it, and he kind of felt that performance embodied that.
Yeah, that's it. Look, Leeds have been notorious, haven't they, the last few seasons for, like I said, they've kind of been labelled as the kind of consistent bottlers, haven't they? Yeah, they've had it. There's been a few seasons now where they've had it in their hands, and everyone's been talking them up, and they've looked at dead cert for automatic promotion, and then it's gone wrong. They've kind of faltered as they've got towards the finish line. But look, there's obviously still quite a bit of the season still to go. But I think the thing that's impressed me with Leeds this season is they've just kind of gradually got better, I feel, as the season's gone on. I feel like some of the other teams below them have kind of had little spells where they've stuttered a bit and they've gone on a bit of a poor run, and like I said, just kind of had these little faltering spells where, as Leeds, look, I know they've dropped points over the course of the season, but I just feel like they've just steadily improved as the season's gone on, and the group of players. Because obviously there was a lot of changes for them at the start of the season, a lot of new bodies brought in, but I just feel as the season's gone on, they're just gelling better and better, together, and just becoming more of a force. So, look, like I said, there's still a lot of games to play, and it's still quite close between those teams. They've got a 5-point gap between them and Burnley in third at this moment in time. But if someone was to put me on the spot now, I'd be astonished if they don't go up. I'd
be about in terms of how they've kind of bubbled along and they're now coming to the fore. Do you think that's massive in terms of being title contenders? To getting that timing right, not peaking too early. We saw the likes of Watford, Blackburn, for instance. These teams being beat, Middlesbrough even at times, Sunderland earlier on in the season. It's all about, if you're going to win the title, get into sort of Easter and then then kind of that's the business end.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly, mate. They're just, like I said, they've just kind of consistently got better. And as the season's gone on, and now we're getting close to probably like the final quarter of the season, aren't we? And they've just hit form at the perfect time. I just think as well, like you look at the starting 11, he seems to have a trusted starting 11 now as well. Yeah, they've got a great squad. I was looking at the starting 11 against Cardiff and the guys they had on the bench, but he is, he has a very settled starting 11 now, and they're all just kind of, really accustomed to playing alongside one another, really starting to gel. And yeah, like I said, I think, there's potential for them to start pulling away from those other three teams, because with those other three teams, I do think they're strong. I do think they're very good teams on their day, but they do seem to have a little bit of a inconsistent side to them. Even with Burnley, they draw a lot of games, don't they? They've drawn a lot of games 0-0. So I just think, yeah, like I said, I'll be absolutely astonished if Leeds. I'll be astonished if they don't win the league, to be honest with you, mate. But if they were to miss out on automatic, then it'll be a massive shock, because, yeah, they're in such a good place at this moment in time, and I don't see any signs of it, derailing. That, if anything, they're getting stronger and stronger as each game passes, just breezing past the opposition. Yeah, it's looking good for him. I'd be, like I said, I know there's a lot of Leeds fans who'll say otherwise, because of they've been in similar situations in previous seasons, and they've kind of bottled it a bit and they've ended up in the playoffs. But I just can't see it happening this season. I think they're going to be playing Premier League football next season, mate.
Well, you just said there how much of a good place they're in. So much so that they themselves, and I think only Bristol City, are the only two teams in the league not to have brought anyone in January. Now that might change while we're on here. Bristol City recently released a statement earlier on, I think today it was, just saying that they were never going to do any business in January, which must be absolutely great to hear if you're a Bristol City fan. However, Leeds on the other hand, it's a different side. They're obviously maybe just they're only going to bring someone in if it is going to drastically improve that squad that you've just been speaking about.
That's it, mate. I just, like I said, I've got the starting 11 up against Cardiff here, but I'll just go through some of the names on their bench. They had Willie Gnonto, Matteo Joseph, Gruev, Brian, Ramazani, Struich. All these guys, they've got some great depth. All those guys could probably walk into the vast majority of everyone else in the Championship. So yeah, there's just no reason for them to kind of panic buy. Like you said, they'd only need to dip into the market if, like you said, there was just a target there that became available that would drastically improve them. I think I've said it a couple of times now. The only position really maybe I felt like they might wanted to strengthen was up top, because they've only really got Pirro as that kind of traditional number 9. I know Bamford's there as well still, but he's kind of been frozen out. you know, the guys on the bench, they're kind of more wingers / attacking midfielders. But again, you know, the likes of Joseph, he's got the ability to play up front and still be a real threat.
Scored at the weekend as well, didn't he?
Yeah. So that's what I mean, mate. They've got a great squad. They've got a fantastic squad. They don't really need to strengthen, so I'm not surprised to see them to strengthen so far in the transfer window. And I think, you know, with the squad they've got, even if the other teams around them strengthen, which they are doing, the likes of Sunderland, the likes of Burnley, I still think they're probably going to have a better squad than all them and a much better chance of getting automatic promotion than all them.
You just mentioned there about the one area of concern for me. It was maybe the goalkeeper a few weeks ago. A lot of talk whether he was going to stay or go. Farke's obviously, you know, decided to stick with him, whether that's through luck or his own choice, whether, you know, any bids have come in for him, etc. But it looks like he's going to be the man now to hopefully take them to the Premier League, which is a show of faith. Yeah,
100%, mate. Look, and I think you know, you got to tip your hat really to Farke for, like you said, sticking with him, because there was some serious pressure from the Leeds fan base. You know, the vast majority of Leeds fans were calling for him to be dropped and replaced when this window opened. But Farke stuck with him, and also Meslier, because I think just for the fact that he's managed to, you know, work his way out of the headlines, and, you know, you haven't heard his name being mentioned. He's just, you know, you haven't, like I said, it's, you know, I think that in itself speaks volumes, in that he's obviously just kind of, you know, cut out the errors. He's, you know, just been consistently performing well for Leeds. They've been keeping a lot of clean sheets of late, haven't they? So testament to him as well. He's obviously turned things around. His performances have improved. So yeah, a lot of credit's got to go to him as well, to be fair, because he was in a tricky spot. So it does show some character, doesn't it, to kind of come back from that.
After that Hull game, you know, everyone was kind of saying, right, this guy's going to cost us top two, never mind the title.
Yeah, that's it, exactly, mate. To be honest, I was surprised that he didn't, you know, that Carl Darlow, who's their number 2 goalkeeper, wasn't brought in, you know, for at least a short spell to just take him out of the like I said, the limelight. But no, he's stuck with him, and yeah, like I said, fair play to him, because he's turned things around, you know, and then a lot of credit's got to go to him for that. Like I said, it shows a lot of character, doesn't it? So yeah, you know, I think there's still question marks about him. I really do. I you know, but you know, there's definitely been an upturn in form there, because, like I said, we've not heard about him for weeks now. Where early on in the season, it seemed to be every other week he was kind of making a mistake, and we were reading about him, weren't we? So.
Oh, you stopped there. I thought you were going to carry on then.
Sorry, mate.
No, it's all right. Daniel Farke said what he liked most at the weekend was the last 20 minutes, being 4-5 up, showing that desire to sprint back and press and defend the clean sheet. Does that kind of show the mentality of the players and where the club are at the moment?
Yeah, that's it, mate. Like I said, I just think they've got a really settled starting 11 at the minute, and they're just, you know, they're playing for one another. They've got that great kind of team spirit. Like I said, I know it sounds a bit corny, but they're almost kind of, you know, a bit unbeatable at this moment in time. They are the force in the Championship currently, and like I said, I wouldn't be surprised to see them start pulling away from the others a little bit now. I just think they're absolutely flying, and it's coming at the perfect time of the season. You know, we're getting into the business end. I think the only thing that's got the potential to derail them is, you know, a few injuries to key players. I know, like I said, you know, they've got a good squad, but you know, some of the guys in there are really, really important. You feel like Tanaka's just been unbelievable for him this season. He's been a great signing, and like again, he's not getting talked about enough. But Solomon, who's come in obviously from Fulham, I think he's gone under the radar a bit as to how good he's been of late, chipping in with goals, plenty of assists. in that kind of attacking midfield, wide position. So, yeah, if they were to get a few injuries, that might derail them. But again, I still think they've probably got enough depth in that squad to replace them comfortably and keep moving forward. So,
they've not lost since Blackburn away on the 30th of November. A couple of draws in there, albeit they've got Coventry midweek, which we've spoken about Coventry 5 on the bounce. Obviously, as well, that could be a tricky fixture. Millwall in the cup, then it's Watford away, Sunderland at home, Sheffield United away on the Monday night game at the end of the month. So that's quite a build up to a big crescendo at the end of this month, isn't it? Sunderland and then Sheffield United.
Yeah, that's it. But you know what? Like they'll be well up for it. They'll be well up for that little run of games there. I just feel like I said, they're just in such a good place at this moment in time that they will be chomping at the bit to play these teams. Like you said, Coventry are probably probably behind Leeds, the informed team in the Championship at the moment. And then, like you said, all those other guys are either chasing automatic promotion or the playoffs. So, yeah, and this is what I mean. I highly suspect them to kind of carry on the way they're going at this moment in time. And, come those games you've just mentioned, I just think they'll have put even more distance between themselves and those guys chasing the automatic spots as well. That could come back to bite me, but honestly, I just think they just look so good at the moment, in such a good place.
But, Sheffield United have shown that they're not invincible. They were beaten obviously by Hull. That was a bit of an ugly win at the weekend. Sunderland have been getting a few draws. You'll get the draw against Plymouth, obviously drawn at half-time at the moment as well. So, as you say, Leeds could maybe just take advantage of that as also picking up results against these sides head-to-head. Yeah,
that's it. I just like that. You made a good point. Sheffield United seem to be kind of grinding results out at this moment in time, don't they? Burnley are drawing a lot of games, not scoring many. Sunderland have been a little bit consistent of late as well. They're the only ones that have just kind of consistently been picking up points. Like you said, they have had a few draws in there, but they're not losing any games. And then, they're scoring lots of goals as well. That's the other thing, isn't it? I'm just looking here. They obviously beat Cardiff 7-0, but beat Norwich 2-0, beat Sheffield Wednesday 3-0. So they're scoring plenty of goals as well and starting to keep some clean sheets as well. It's just, just a recipe for success, isn't it? You're stopping them at the one end and you're scoring plenty at the other side. Yeah, looking good for them.
I was going to say that's us. Leeds have just won the league tonight on here. So okay then, brilliant. We'll move swiftly on. We were going to discuss West Brom's away form, but you scrubbed that from the script. We're going to go with Millwall tonight. He's sick to death talking about West Brom, so we'll part that. We'll give him a bit of respite. We will talk about Alex Neil's Millwall. 3 wins on the bounce. We actually, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but we said that he hadn't gone off to the start that he'd wanted. However, the tide has turned.
Yeah, is it, Matt? I just felt like we needed to give him a bit of a mention, really, because look, and I'll hold my hands up, and I think we were both a bit underwhelmed with the appointment of Alex Neil. I think, we've kind of joked a few times on the pod, haven't we, about what's a sexy managerial appointment and what's a not very sexy managerial appointment. And I think it's safe to say Alex Neil probably sits in the latter. We kind of felt that his appointment, that they might be pulled into a bit of a relegation scrap. And when he first came in, I think they had a couple of poor results, and it looked like that would be the case. And I think you're right. We kind of had a bit of a dig saying it's panning out how we expected. He's not getting a tune out of them, and they're starting to struggle. But ever since then, they've really picked up. Like you said, they've won their last 3 matches. I was having a look. Last 6 games, they've won 3, drew 3, and lost 1. So they've only lost 1 in their last 6. If you throw in the FA Cup as well, that's 4 wins. So he seems to have you know, whatever he's doing, it seems to have worked because he's getting a tune out of them. They're starting to pick up points. They're starting to climb up the table. And I find it a little bit funny because, like, look, it'd be interesting to see what Millwall fans think. But, you know, Millwall are notorious for just being this kind of, like, scrappy team that they're not very stylish. You know, it's not an easy watch, but they're scrappy. They make it incredibly difficult for anyone that you know comes and plays them, especially at their place. You know, they try and make it hostile. Their fan base are notorious. You know, that's been their image for as long as I can remember. You know, being a football fan, and it's quite funny because I just feel like it's almost like kind of ingrained into them, because whenever they've tried to experiment with maybe managers who are a bit more kind of attack minded or a bit more possession based or a bit more, you know what I mean, kind of, like I said, a bit sexier and following the whole kind of tick-a-tacker Pep, you know, what he's introduced over here and so on. It's just never worked for them, and they've always just been more effective when they've ultimately hired someone who's a bit more direct. They focus on, you know, defence and being organised and keeping the opposition out, making it difficult for teams, frustrating teams, getting in their face. And it looks like that's what, you know, Neil's doing now. That, you know, they're winning games. They've won a few games 1-0 of late, haven't they? You know, they're keeping clean sheets. They're sneaking goals on the counter on set piece. And like I said, it just kind of embodies what Millwall are all about, and it's what's made them successful over the years, what's made them a real kind of solid championship team. So, yeah, you know, I just wanted, I felt like we had to talk about him because you're right, we had a few digs when he first was appointed and when he didn't get off to the best of runs, but they've picked up and they're looking really difficult to beat once again.
Look, we've celebrated QPR on here the last few weeks and how well they've done. That one at the weekend against QPR puts Millwall above them, so it's only right we speak about them tonight. Just on that game at the weekend, you know, two of the new boys scored on their debuts, Conley and the chap on they got off for £1 million from Wolves. Is it Cundle? So at the time of writing my notes, I wrote 5 new January additions, but it's actually 6 because they brought in the winger from Brighton, Baker Bote. He's come in as well. So that's 6 new additions in January. I think he was on his medical at the time of me writing my notes. So Kramer, Conley and Kundal started. Obviously, I said the 2 scoring. I think they paraded, is it Nageli? He was paraded before kickoff. And another one of the new lads from, I think, that came in from Middlesbrough, Matthews, he trained as well today. So loads of new faces. Alex Neil said, I think what it shows in terms of this recent run is how quickly football can change. They knew in January how hard it would be, i.e. Losing the lad to Crystal Palace and then bringing in, 4 or 5 other players, 6 in this case now, but he had to, incorporate them in while still winning football matches, and they're managing to do that.
Yeah, testament to him, mate, because look, the names that you've just listed there, there's a few of them I'd never even heard of before they brought him in. Connolly has been a bit of a journeyman the last couple of seasons, hasn't really been able to settle anywhere. So there was definitely some risk involved in bringing him to the club. But yeah, he seems to be. Yeah, just, he seems to be obviously, we've just been talking about Leeds and, how vital it is to kind of get, that team spirit right and everyone playing for one another and just getting on board with the manager and trying to build some confidence. And he seems to be getting that out of them, doesn't he? Like I said, I didn't think it was going to happen. I wasn't expecting it. And from what I saw on, social media, I know there was a lot of Millwall fans who were concerned with the appointment. They weren't his number one pick, and they weren't necessarily over the moon when he was brought in. But I'm sure he's starting to win a few of them over. And yeah, like I said, I just looked at. I didn't realise. Again, it's Yeah, they're on 40 points. They're 5 points from the playoffs. Again, nothing's impossible, is it? Nothing's impossible. If they can put a good run together, they can very well get themselves in that mix, in that conversation. Again, I feel like squad depth will probably see them fall short. I don't think they've got enough in there.
Sorry, you say that though, but look at the next games, and your own club are in there. So apologies, but aside from the FA Cup game, we'll take that out because that's obviously Leeds United away from home. But then they're away at Argyle, and they've got West Brom at home, Preston away, and Derby away. It's not out of their grasp to win those games.
No, 100%. You're right. You are. Like, on paper, that's a good run, even against ourselves, because we've been appalling away from home this season. So you're absolutely right. On paper, that is a good run. But the Championship, mate, it's like Plymouth at their place. We know that they're tough. They obviously got a good win against ourselves at the weekend. Preston, they've picked up a little bit. I've been quite impressed the last couple of times I've seen them. I felt they were very unlucky when I watched them against Blackburn in their last game.
Had that penalty, shouldn't
they? Yeah. I felt like they deserved something from the game, based on their performance. But you're right, they will be looking at that run of games. And, even after Derby, they've got Bristol at home. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying, mate. There's absolutely no reason for them not to, continue this run and get themselves in that playoff conversation, in that playoff mix. So, yeah, like I said, I just wanted to say something tonight because I felt like, they've kind of gone under the radar a bit, and they always do. Millwall, they'll be their fans will be the first to tell you that they probably don't get, even when they're doing well, and performing well and putting a bit of a run together and so on, they probably don't get the kind of recognition and the spotlight that they deserve at times because there is a bit of a label associated to them, isn't there? But yeah, I wanted to just say something tonight because I felt like, it's kind of not getting talked about. They're on a really good run. They're one of the informed teams at the moment, and that's a testament to Alex, Alex Neil coming in and the job he's doing.
Absolutely, and they're obviously backing him with that money they've got from Palace. So, good luck to him. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to move on to transfer in a minute, but just to finish up on Millwall, some story this morning about Tanganga was a target for Sheffield United. He's been colossal since coming in from Tottenham. A defender who I really like. He was actually linked with Rangers a couple of seasons ago, and I kind of hope we were going to go and get him. Young, athletic, powerful. That would have been a huge loss, right? Alex Neil just couldn't have entertained that unless it was crazy money.
I think so, mate. I think he is a massive player for them. I don't know if he's a captain. I've got a feeling he's got the armband for him. I might be wrong on that, but yeah, he's absolutely immense for him. And you're right. I think, if he was to leave in this transfer window, that'd be a big loss for them, and it'd probably undo a lot of the hard work that Neil's done of late and this upturn in form. So yeah, I think he'll be hoping for the window to slam shut and Tangana to remain at Millwall at least till the end of the season. I think it's looking that way, isn't it? I haven't seen anything else today. So yeah, he's a great defender. He is, like you said. I think he could probably play for anyone in the division, to be fair. And it was a bit of a coup for Millwall. It kind of went under the radar a little bit.
How have they got him?
That's it. Well, he was on loan, wasn't he, with him previously? And then, he obviously enjoyed his time there on loan, and the club convinced him to commit his future there. But yeah, as each game passes, it's looking more and more, a great bit of business. And like you said, if he is to leave, then full well Millwall are going to get a nice little transfer fee for him. So it's good. It's great business all round for Millwall, really. So he's been really good. I like the lad Denori in midfield as well. Again, I don't think he's been talked about enough because it's his first season in the Championship. And I was looking at some stats the other day for kind of midfielders in the division, and he's up there for a lot of them. And he's scored quite a few goals and stuff. So, yeah, he's really impressed me this season. Cracking signing for them. Again, someone no one had ever heard of, until he came along this season. So, Yeah, fair play to them. I'm glad they've picked up because they're a bit of a soft spot for him. Oddly enough, I know like they get bad. Their fan base and stuff get kind of labelled at times, don't they? But as a football club, I always think they're quite well run. They never seem to spend above. They're quite sensibly run, and they never spend much money, but they've always kind of had that mid-table championship stability for a long time now, and even flirted with the playoffs a bit in previous seasons. You always seem to unearth a few gems from the lower leagues and sell them on for profit and stuff. So, it's good to see him kind of picking up and doing well again this season.
I've got a wee notepad here of teams in the championship you said you got a soft spot for. And it's filling up, mate. I'll tell you now. Okie dokie. Right, well, Sunderland, by the way, have took the lead 2-1 up. Isidore with a strike. Since we said he was garbage, he's went on a really great run, hasn't he? So, brilliant. We know what we're talking about here on the Tunnel Podcast. Okay, so yes, transfer deadline day. Now, obviously, this window is not just about today. It's been running for obviously the last 4 or 5 weeks. So we're going to pick apart some of the ones that have caught our eye. We are going to finish the show by picking our top 3 as well. So, Tom, stuff from today then, because there's been a bit of work today. Just the game we've been speaking about there. Akechi Iheanacho, who we spoke about a couple of weeks ago on this podcast, is now going to be signing, or has signed for Middlesbrough on loan until the end of the season. That probably follows the Latte exit. What do you make of that one? Probably it's quite high profile for a start.
Yeah, it is quite high profile because I'm not too sure how old the guy is, but
28.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, he's got a lot of experience, hasn't he? Nigerian international, played at the highest level. Yeah, I think you're right. I think, look, that's got the potential to be a really good move for Middlesbrough because they've obviously lost Latte Laugh. I don't think he is the player that they're looking to bring in to replace Laugh long term. They've obviously kind of had to act quickly because the transfer window's closing. But in terms of a short-term deal, I think that could be a really smart move from Borough because, like we said, they brought in Whittaker, but I think he's more of a attacking midfielder, wide player, isn't he? So he wasn't a like-for-like replacement. Conway's got an injury. I think that's a tidy bit of business by Borough. He's obviously only on loan as well from Sevilla. So, yeah, I think that's smart move from them. It
seems low risk, doesn't it? It seems low risk.
Yeah, it seems low risk. I think they'll probably be paying a fair bit for his wages. But again, he's a good addition. Obviously Borough have got aspirations of kind of putting a bit of a consistent run together and locking down that playoff spot that they just keep dipping in and out of. I think, the signing of Iheanacho will only strengthen that for him. I think he's a solid signing at this level. Like I said, he's got Prem quality, European quality, international quality. So there's no reason why he can't kind of get up to speed with Borough in the Championship and start scoring some goals for him.
He also follows the loan signing of Elling Jr. from Aston Villa. Now, this one's got the hacks, jumping for joy because this guy seems to come with real pedigree. Just been at Bologna for half a season, scored in the Champions League only a matter of weeks ago against Borussia Dortmund, England under 21. I think he can play as a wing back as well. So he's got a bit of versatility about him. Is that another one? Is that another one we're going to put under Coop? Or what do you know about this lad?
Mate, this is it. I'm gonna really show my age here because I don't know anything about the guy. But on kind of social media the last couple of days, like everyone's like waxing lyrical about him. He must have some sort of like FIFA card, some special edition FIFA card or something. That now all of a sudden everyone seems to know that this guy's the next big thing. I can't comment on this one, mate, because I know absolutely nothing about him. But if I was to go purely from the hype, then it sounds like Borough have got some player on their hands. Do you know what I mean? But I can't.
He's on the bench tonight. He's not come on just yet, but he is on the bench.
Well, there we go. We might get a little glimpse of him, mightn't we, before the game ends tonight, and see what he's all about. But yeah, like I said, mate.
Sorry, but the scoreline being 2-1, I think it won't be long before Carrick chucks.
That's it. Yeah, you would have thought, wouldn't you? So yeah, I'm interested to see. You know, like I said, I'm intrigued a little bit about. You know, it's quite similar to Lefebvre when he went to Sunderland, in that I knew very little about him, but the hype on social media was something else. So there's that intrigue for me to see what this guy's all about and what he can do.
Now, the massive one today was described as the best Championship signing ever. Now, we had that the other week with Lefebvre. Marcus Edwards, Burnley on loan from Sporting, best Championship signing ever was what I saw earlier on from another second tier show that goes out, quite popular one. You know, he's had 3 years in Lisbon. Obviously knows Scott Parker from his time at Tottenham. Said that was a massive part of him coming with the Bullies. He said how big a club Burnley are, and you know, you take that sort of stuff with a pinch of salt, because obviously, you know, these guys. You know, I think John Duran had said he'd been watching Al Nassr since he was 10. And you know, these guys come out with this stuff. However, it does seem to got people talking. It does seem to be a bit of a coup, as you say. Again, is he more of a forward? I looked at his numbers. He doesn't look an out-and-out striker.
Well, this is it, mate. Look, again, I've got to kind of hold my hands up here. I know of the player, but I don't really know enough about him to kind of give a real kind of committed, you know, take on whether he's going to be a good signing for Burnley or not. Look, you know, the fact that, you know, he was snapped up by Sporting. Well, you know, he was at Tottenham, wasn't he? And then he was brought in by Sporting Lisbon, obviously one of the big teams in Portugal. He's obviously going to have gotten Champions League experience, I would have thought, playing for Lisbon.
He scored several times in the Champions League.
Yeah, there we go. So, you know, he's got some great experience under his belt. I think he's at a good age, isn't he? About 26, I think, something like that. So, yeah, look, if I was a Burnley fan right now, I'd definitely be excited by him being brought in. And like we've said many a time, yeah, that's what they've really been lacking this season. Burnley, we know how incredible they are defensively, but you know, they've struggled at times in front of goal. They haven't scored enough goals. Lots of 0-0s. Yeah, they've been relying on Zion Fleming to play up front when he's more of an attacking midfielder. So, yeah, that's what they've needed. And yeah, I didn't think they were going to bring anyone in, but you know, they've brought this guy in. There's a lot of talk, a lot of hype around him. From what people are saying, you know, he's a talent. Like we've just been saying, you got to have something about you if you're scoring goals in the Champions League, haven't you? So, yeah, that's an exciting one for Burnley for sure. I don't know whether I'd go as far as saying it's the best ever Championship signing, but yeah, it's look. Let's put it this way: it's looking a promising one for Burnley, I think, and definitely an exciting one for their fans. So,
look, I'm just kind of pulling this away slightly, but just a point I've popped in my head because of the two guys we just spoke about. The two guys we just spoke about have come to Championship clubs on loan, having played Champions League football this season. Now, you said earlier, people are saying this is the poorest Championship we've ever seen. You know, that doesn't add up then. That doesn't marry in, does it? You know, if it's the poorest Championship, why would guys be leaving Champions League football to come and play in this division?
I think it's nonsense, mate. I think it's just lazy. I think it's. I can understand it to it. I know we're kind of going off topic a little bit here. I can understand it to an extent because, you know, I'm a firm believer that gap between the Championship and the Premier League is getting bigger. But then I don't necessarily think it's because of the levels in the Championship is declining. I just feel the levels in the Premiership just continue to increase, and the money that's getting spent just increases as each season passes. I think you make a great point in that, you know, you look at the caliber of some of the players, like you said, just in this window alone, that have decided to come and join a team in the Championship. Guys who've been playing in the Champions League, guys with experience at the very best level who are still very much in their prime. You know, Iheanacho, 28 years of 28 years old. We're not talking about a guy who's, 34, 35 towards the back end of his career. I think that's a great point, mate. It's a testament to the league and like you said, the quality within it, how competitive it is. And I just think, again, what we've talked about many a time on the pod is, the amount of players that are snapped up by teams in the Premier League from the Championship that then, almost make the move effortlessly and start performing at the top level. Again, I think that's appealing to players, isn't it? That, especially Premier League teams, there's a lot of eyes on the Championship, isn't there? So if you can go to the Championship and perform well, you've got a good chance of climbing that ladder. So, I think it's nonsense. I don't quite understand it. I know this year no one's particularly running away with it like there has been in previous seasons, but then I don't know how you just then make the assumption, well, that's because it's, it's weaker. It's just it seems like it's just a lazy kind of tag, isn't it? I feel anyway.
And you make a great point about competitiveness. I don't know how you can't be excited by the fact that the team in 18th could still get into the playoffs. It's one of the biggest draws for me. I've come into this as a neutral, and I just love the twists and turns. I just think it's fantastic. It's something that should be celebrated, not run down. But as you say, maybe another conversation for another day. Let's move attention to West Brom then, because the day started off red hot. You were on the phone to me straight away. Palmer's moving. He's off to Ipswich. Deal could rise to £5 million. We're bringing back a lad from Bristol Rovers. Talk about the start of your day and kind of, the action that's taking place at the Hawthorns today.
Yeah, well, that's it, mate. I think most Albion fans were expecting a bit of a quiet one today, but quite early on it was announced that we'd agreed a fee with Ipswich. I've seen 2 million, 3 million, 4 million and 5 million all today, but I've heard from kind of local reliable journalists that it's about 3.5 mil maybe up front with add-ons and stuff, which could rise to 5 million. Look, it's kind of got the fan base split. I'm a big fan of Alex Palmer. I think he's a top goalkeeper at Championship level. But he's got 18 months left on his deal. He's nearly 29. I think if it is closer to 5 million, I don't think it's too bad a deal for us. And with like PSR and stuff, he came for our academy, so it's pure profit for the club. So, and like you touched on, we've got Will Smith, who's number 2 to Palmer at this moment in time, who's got a lot of experience playing, in the Championship, League One. He was the best goalkeeper in League One last season for Derby. And Josh Griffiths, who's a young lad who's been on loan at Bristol Rovers. He's an England under-21 international. We've got really high hopes for him. He's been fantastic for Bristol Rovers so far this season. I think the feeling is amongst the Albion fans that he's going to get brought back and he's going to be the new number 1. The club's got a lot of faith in him that he's going to be, a top goalkeeper for us. So I think all these things combined, the majority, I think that it's a sensible move. You obviously you risk throwing things out a bit, don't you? Because he's played with that defence for a long time now and they've been very successful. But if we can use a bit of that money to make a couple more signings before the window closed, then again, I think it's a good deal all round. And look, I think I like Palmer a lot, and I'm really happy for the chap. He's going to go and play Premier League football. He's going to go into their first team, I'd imagine, because of how poorly the Ipswich goalkeepers have done so far this season. So I'm happy for the chap as well. So not too fussed about that. I think it's a good deal all round, to be honest.
You just said there, money that could be spent elsewhere. I don't know if this one's over the line or not. You would tell me that the forward from Randers, Tamabani, I hope I've said his name right, €4 million. You were absolutely salivating when you sent me this one.
Mate, this is
a gem.
Yeah, this is it, man. This is the stuff I love. It's proper like Football Manager. It's a bit of it was like Hegem at the start of the season. I'd never heard of the bloke. We plucked him from the Norwegian top flight. This guy, same kind of story. Guy I've never heard of. Obviously playing in the Danish top flight. Straight on YouTube, looking at those compilation videos. This guy's going to be amazing for us. I've already made my mind up, mate. So no, but in all seriousness,
you've seen the compilations. Tell us a bit about him. Seriously, what's your takeaway?
Yeah, look, he's we've been lacking just a genuine kind of number 10 playmaker. Swift's past his best. Grady Diangana's very inconsistent. I think he's better out on the wing. We've ever since we lost Mateus Pereira, ever since we sold him, we've just lacked that kind of playmaker. And then he looks a similar mould, number 10, smallish, low centre of gravity, likes to kind of get forward, assist, chip in with a few goals. Like I said, mate, look, I know nothing about the guy, so in all honesty, I can't comment. But I do find these signings much more exciting because I think I've told you in the past, when I first started really, really following the club, funnily enough, when Tony Mowbray was in charge, we were plucking these gems from Sweden and Slovenia and, guys I'd never heard of, and they came along and they become cult heroes for us. And like I said, Hegem, he's been amazing for us. He's already kind of getting there. He looks a great buy. So I'm hoping this guy follows suit as well.
Who's your head of recruitment? Ian Pearce, did you say?
Yeah, Ian Pearce at the moment. And look, I tell you what, he's not done great in his time at the club. But I think since the new owners come in, I think they've given him a bit more help, and they've kind of refreshed the scouting system and databases, etc., really kind of put some work into improving our scouting network and so on. And this is where obviously a lot of these guys are coming from. So yeah, it's exciting. Like I said, I joke about it like Football Manager signings, aren't they? These guys that you've never heard of, you bring them in, and like I said, they end up becoming cult heroes for the club. So, but in all seriousness, it's in an area where we are lacking. He's, stuff I've read today from Denmark. He's very highly regarded over in Denmark. So we'll see, mate. But yeah, I'm excited to see this guy. It sounds like it's done and dusted. He's had his medical and stuff. Apparently, they're just waiting for the official announcement. So yeah, I'm hoping for maybe one more though. We'll see. I don't know if I'm being a bit greedy, but one more would be nice before the window closes.
We'll just give you an update. It's now 2-2 at Riverside. Hayden Hackney's equalised. He was obviously denied that move to Porto. Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
I believe the report said rejected that bid. Just to finish up on West Brom then, because a lot of talk today about Tom Fellows and Everton. It was reports of 10 million, then it was a 15 million bid rejected. You've always said to me behind closed doors, and I'm just about to out you on a live podcast, but you've always said to me 20 million would be more the figure you're looking at. He's definitely, the biggest sellable asset at the football club, right?
Yeah, 100%, mate. Look, I only say that based on other deals that have been done recently. Players in the Championship, for example, that Essay who's gone to Crystal Palace from Millwall, that was about 14 million, I believe, or maybe just shy of 14 million. Well, if you're using that as the kind of your starting point, then he's got to be above that because he's got more experience than the lad. He's contributed more goals and assists than the lad. He's an England under-21 international. He's got a few caps now for the England under-21s. So like I said to you, anything less than 15 million, I just think is probably an insult. We've got to be looking north of that figure. And to be honest, from what I've read, it sounds like that's what it's going to take for us to even kind of entertain, selling him. So look, I don't think he's gonna go this window. I think we'll keep hold of him. I think if we don't get promoted this season, there's a very good chance of him going in the summer, I feel. But then, like you've just said, I think we're going to get a really good transfer fee for him. It's going to be pure profit because he come through our academy. And that fee has got the potential, to allow Mowbray to kind of really transform the team as he deems fit. So, yeah, I'm quite kind of comfortable, and this is the thing we've not been good at it for a long time now, is realizing when we've got an asset and selling them at the right time for the best possible price. That's where we are now. We've been in the Championship for a while now. That's our place in the food chain. So yeah, I'm obviously hoping he can help us get in the playoffs and sneak into the Premier League. But either way, I'm quite comfortable. I know that the club will not take anything less than 15 million. I'm sure of it.
Okie dokie. We're going to finish up on transfer by giving us our kind of top three of the window. I do want to finish the pod though on talking about these kind of. There's a couple of midweek games where we can try and squeeze them in before we go. Do you want to start? Will I start? How do you want to play it?
Yeah, start, mate. To be honest, I know there's a couple of midweek games, but I haven't actually had a look as to what they are. Let me bring them up quickly then.
I'll tell you. So my three then. At number 3, I've gone for probably no surprise. Ben Brereton Diaz. I just think he might just bring a bit of stability to Sheffield United at a time.
Hold on, stop. I thought you were talking about the midweek games. Sorry, I'm all getting mixed up here then.
We're doing our 3 and then we'll finish on the midweek games, yeah?
Yeah. Okay, we'll do our 3. So we're doing our 3 top signs of the window so far, yeah?
Yeah. Well, but listen, so far it's because the window is obviously done. I'm just trying to keep up to what I'm seeing on the video printer. Nothing really jumping out. Couple of loans. Harrison Armstrong's gone on loan from Everton to Derby. Ben Killip signed from Barnsley to Pompey. Ian Atch obviously announced as well, but nothing blockbuster at this time of night. To be fair, Lewis O'Brien actually is a decent one. He's come from Forest to Swansea on loan.
Yeah.
Mansfield have got Jordan Rhodes. I know that's not Championship, but they've got Lee Gregory and Jordan Rhodes up front, which is crazy. Okay, so I'm going to give you my 3 first, and then you can talk about your 3. Okay, so my first, number 3, I've gone for Brereton Diaz. I just think at a time where I think they might be, I know this might be extreme, but I'm going to use the word anyway, a bit of a wobble. I think he's going to come in and just offer a little bit of stability. You've seen, as I said at the start of the pod, one ugly at the weekend, and he's the guy that got the goal. There was actually a thing earlier on I saw that they're linked with 2 foreign chaps coming in. One was, I think it was South American or definitely Spanish speaking, and someone said, this guy's going to turn up thinking Brereton Diaz is speaking fluent Spanish and he's from Stoke. So that made me chuckle. Number 2, I've gone for Stewie Armstrong because I just think he's a touch of class. I know they toiled a little bit at the weekend against Luton. They were really poor first half and came back into it second half. I think I'm hoping he will just bring a little bit of invention and link that midfield to front that they've maybe been missing. I know they're struggling for a striker. Ogbo's not in form and Smith's not in form, so I've put him in at 2. Number 1, I've gone a bit rogue here. I've not gone for a player as such. I've gone for Plymouth, and you might go Plymouth, but I just think that Muslich is brought in players to sort of steady the ship almost, and you saw it at the weekend. I know you talk about Maxi and how embarrassed you were by him celebrating every challenge, and I get that. I do get it, but at the same time, they were so well organised. They were really resolute. I think you'll agree they were really hard to break down. Katic came in as well. The other fella that was playing kind of on the left of the 3, he was already there. Am I right in saying?
The blonde-haired chap who was playing left back.
No. They're playing a 3 at the back. The number 5, who, let me just pull him up here. But I just feel like he's brought in, maybe he's got rid of a bad egg. He's got rid of Morgan Whittaker, and people have thought, well, that's probably going to be the end of Plymouth. However, he seems to have done a bit of wheeling and dealing, and I think they look okay. So I'm going to give sort of transfer of the window to Plymouth. I think that they've given themselves a good base to go and have a go at it now for the last kind of 16 games. There's 46 games to play, so the last kind of 16 games they've given themselves a decent shout. And I think, especially at home park, I watched the game at the weekend, full 90 minutes, and I thought the place was actually rocking at times. They would go to camera shots and it would be sort of rocking up and down, and Lee Hendry, and I don't know who was on main comms, might have been Rob Hawthorne, were kind of chatting about it and saying, just this is the home park of old, and this is what they're going to need to get them through until the end of the season. So yeah, for me, I think Plymouth have done really good business. Julio, I can't Plegazawo. I don't know. You know the guy I'm on about. I thought they were really good. As you say, the blonde fullback, actually the wing back was decent as well, wasn't he? He was okay.
That Pukac, I was quite in that Pukac, I think his name was.
Yeah,
mate. I agree with you on that. I was really impressed with the two big centre backs, the Katic and Talaverov, I think his name was. So they had.
We'll call him Max. He had Maxi on the back of his shirt.
One of them's the Ukrainian lad, and the other was the Bosnian lad, wasn't he? And that's I know I was taking the mick a bit about him celebrating, but I tell you what, as a Plymouth fan, that's probably what you want to see: a bit of fight, a bit of passion. They've had a pretty miserable season so far. Those two guys look, well up for the fight.
They look like warriors, don't they? That's what you want in there. Absolutely.
Exactly. So, look, I'll be honest with you. The Ukrainian lad for Plymouth, I was contemplating him as well because I was really impressed. They spent a bit of money on him. Really what they
signing, isn't he? He's the
really what they need. He's Ukrainian international as well. I was reading afterwards. So, but yeah, I haven't seen enough of him yet to make a judgment. But I agree with you. I agree with everything you said there. I think those two could be real, shrewd bit of business for them. To get them at least fighting again. In well and truly in that mix. Trying to stay in the division. So, do you want me to give you mine?
Yeah, please. Yeah, I'm sat patiently waiting. Yeah, let's have it.
So, mate, mine are quite similar to yours, actually. So I went with. So my number 3, I was thinking Brereton Diaz, but I went for Cannon in the end because obviously he's there signing. Obviously Brereton Diaz is been brought in on loan, but they've signed Tom Cannon. I think they probably did pay a bit over the odds for him, but it was absolutely vital that they brought in some firepower this window with all the injuries that they've had, to try and get them over the line in that automatic playoff push and automatic promotion push. And I think, I know he hasn't. I don't think he's scored yet. I think he's got a couple of assists, but I don't think it'll be too long before he starts scoring some goals for him. So I went Tom Cannon, number 3.
On that, to play devil's advocate, is the pressure there? In fact, that if he gets to the end of the season and he's only scored 1 or 2, he's got that price tag, and if they say they go up into the big league, it's going to be calls. Is he going to be good enough? Do we need to go and get another? Is this another Ollie McBurney?
Yeah, no, you're right, mate. There's definitely pressure with that price tag. I agree, 100%. But yeah, look, I could, come the end of the, time will tell when it, we'll have this chat again at the end of the season, see how he's done. But I think him and Brereton Diaz, who you've obviously picked as well, I think those two could be the difference between. The difference between Burnley and Sunderland, who are challenging with them. I really do. I think they've both got top strikers for this level, and I think as soon as they've played a few more games together, I think they'll start scoring plenty of goals between them. So yeah, I went for Tom Cannon. This one might surprise you a bit. I did kind of speak very highly about him in the last pod when I was tearing into Luton, but I think that the signing of fellow Asgard from Wigan is a great signing for Luton. Like I said to you, he's one I've had my eye on and always kind of hoped West Brom would get linked with him at some point because, he was never going to cost too much. He would have been probably within our price range. But, yeah, he's ended up at Luton. Like you said, I very much think that it was a case of Bloomfield, the one who made the call on that. But I think, he's got a top player there. He could prove really important for him, in obviously keeping them in division. They've lacked that kind of creative spark. They've got Morris and Adebayo up front, but I think they've been a little starved of chances. That creative force behind him, and I think he could be the one to provide that. So I think he's a great signing for Luton. To be honest with you, he's my number 2. And then I went with Stuart Armstrong, number 1, man. I'm a Stuart Armstrong fanboy, man. But look, all jokes aside, I think he's a great signing for Sheffield Wednesday. Just everything that you said, really, is exactly what they need right now. All right, yes, he's 32, so I think that's the only thing that's going against this deal is he's obviously, getting on a little bit footballing terms. But yeah, I think he's exactly what Wednesday need. They need that little bit of creativity behind the strikers. That guy who likes to drive forward with the ball. He scores goals, assists. He's good at set pieces. Yeah, I think he's going to be really important for Sheffield Wednesday from now until the end of the season.
I'll just caveat what you said there about age with Barry Bannon. Now, surely the sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? The big thing here is the fact that he's playing under Danny Rowe. It's the manager here. That could be the real Joe of the Crown. That meeting of the two players together. Maybe if he was under, I don't know, an Alec Neil, like you say, or someone down the league a little bit. But the fact he's under arguably the best manager in the division, we should definitely see the best of him, even if it's just in the last kind of 3-4 months.
Yeah, that's it. They know each other, don't they, as well, from Roll's time at Southampton. So I think that's what convinced Armstrong to go to Wednesday. He's signed permanently as well. I always think.
How long for? They never tell you. Wednesday never release any contract. How long is he signed
for?
I
don't know how long, but I just think the fact he's signed permanently, there's always that risk with loan signings. I feel that, how much of their heart's going to be in the move. Do you know what I mean? Because you're not playing for them. You're playing for, your parent club's someone else. Sometimes these loan moves turn out fantastically well for both parties, but sometimes, the heart's not in it. So I just feel the fact that he's signed permanently, he's coming back, moving back into the UK from Canada. Yeah, I think it's a great addition. I think he's going to do a lot of good there.
100%. Okay, quickly if we can. Couple of midweek games, I say. Tomorrow night we've got Burnley, Oxford, QPR, Blackburn, and then Wednesday night, Coventry, Leeds. We've spoken a little bit about Coventry, Leeds, but Burnley, it's really important now that they try and maybe get a statement win, isn't it? I know they battered the other day, but it just kind of feels like they're kind of, I don't know, falling away a little bit. And if they are going to put any pressure on Sheffield United, more importantly, then, they need to string a couple of results, a couple of wins together.
That's exactly it, mate. Like you said, they smashed Plymouth, and then you were thinking then, is this their moment? Like, have they, they finally kind of come together, all the pieces are fitting. They're going to start pumping, teams on a regular basis, but it's not been the case. I think it's been 2-0 since then, hasn't it? And again, this is the thing with Burnley all season. There's always, it doesn't take long for a few kind of negative murmurs to start doing the rounds. I don't think that their home fans are. I think the fact that they're sat third in the table is I'm trying to think how to word it. They've had a lot of 0-0s at home, and there's jokes and memes starting to do the rounds that the home fans, they're not seeing any goals. It must be an absolute ball fest for them. So they're starting to get this kind of this reputation, aren't they? This as being this really dull, boring team. So yeah, I think you're right. I think they need something similar to obviously what Leeds did last weekend. I think they need, a real big statement win at home to kind of get to just, shut those kind of negative murmurs, shut them down completely, and just give the fans a bit of excitement, a few goals, something to kind of to really get behind. But Oxford, mate, have been a real tough nut since Rowett come in.
Another great appointment.
Yeah, and I can maybe see Burnley getting the 3 points there, but I don't think they're going to be absolutely battering Oxford. I'm really confident in that. I think Oxford are going to make them work for those 3 points. So interesting to see how that one plays out. That should be, that's an intriguing game, that one.
So Fuentes was ill at the weekend, so he wasn't in the dugout for that defeat in Millwall. He may return tomorrow night. Blackburn have done a little bit of business whilst they brought in a striker before the win against Preston on Friday night. They brought in a left back today on loan, Yuri Ribeiro from Braga. So that shocks you because Owen Beck seems to have that position on lockdown.
Yeah, that was it again. Like, look, I'm no expert when it comes to Blackburn, but when I saw that they brought in a left back, I thought what you thought, because I watched the game against Preston and I thought Beck. Every time I've seen Beck, he's
Good.
performed
So good.
Yeah, he's performed well, and I think with Blackburn, the area I felt they need to strengthen is in attack. You know, scoring goals, a bit of creativity. You know, they rely a lot on Cantwell, don't they? And he's quite inconsistent, isn't he? You know, he can be really good at times, but then he'll go missing a lot as well. So, yeah, definitely a bit of a strange one. But yeah, they obviously got a great win against Preston. You know, they've been stuttering a little bit, but they're still, you know, that win, they're still, I think it pushed them back into the playoffs for a period of time. So they're still right in there. Like you said, QPR lost a couple now, haven't they? So this will be interesting to see how they respond, because they obviously went on that crazy run. Absolutely fantastic. But a couple of defeats now. Can they kind of dust themselves off, pick themselves up again? Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And then Wednesday night game, that's one I'm going to definitely be watching. It's probably the two informed teams at this moment in time, isn't it? So, and this will really test, you know, Coventry and Lampard's credentials as to whether they're going to be, you know, in the playoff. If they can get something from this game, then I think everybody needs to sit up and take note. I think even if they can get a point, everyone needs to sit up and take note and start, you know, really taking them seriously and saying for what it is. You know, they're in this playoff hunt as well now. So yeah, that should be.
He's worked hard to get the Coventry fans on side. I think that should be a bit of a recognition of that, and the Coventry fans should make that a bit of a fortress on Wednesday night. They're going to need the home fans, aren't they? If they're going to get into that, they have to make it uncomfortable for Leeds, you know, in terms of the stands. Hopefully we might have a Coventry fan on with us Thursday night after that, so we can chat about that. But as you say, definitely looks like the pick of the three. Okay, we'll leave it there. 3-2 to Sunderland, just as we about to come off here. It's a 9th minute strike. Let's find out who's bagged that, because obviously we've been chatting away there. It is an own goal from Gillies. Is that he the lad on loan from Hull?
Giles, yeah, Ryan Giles.
Oh, there you go. I've said his name wrong as well. They're breaking away again, Sunderland. Oh, it's an easy. Oh no! Exciting finish. Okay. Sorry for my dreadful commentary there. Delighted if you've joined us tonight. Do give us a wee like and a comment if you can. There is someone commenting now. Jeff, will I bet? Can I join the StreamYard from Denmark? Jeff, if you want to join, get in our DMs on X at the Tunnel Pod UK. We'll speak to you there, because we don't want to risk anything untoward. You coming on and maybe, you know, use your imagination on that one. Okay. As always, an absolute pleasure, mate. Everyone watching, thanks for joining, and we'll see you all on the other side. Cheers.